Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm very honored. I have one of my childhood hero actresses in town, Miss Diane Franklin. You might recognize her, Last American Virgin, Amityville Horror, or Amityville Part 2, The Possession. This is a very interesting scene. If you haven't seen it, you might know what I'm talking about. I believe this is, if I'm not mistaken, Better Off Dead with John Cusack. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. You might remember her as Princess Elizabeth. Princess Elizabeth.
Yes, which is obviously it's been back and forth.
So Diane flew in this past Thursday. Well, you don't know what day of the week it is, but she flew in a few days ago. We shot 2 days in a row, and then we did an actor's workshop.
It was amazing. I have to say, and this is the first time I've been to Kentucky.
Welcome to Kentucky.
So
thank
you. I love it. I love it.
So she flew in a few days ago. We shot, the photos that we shot are pretty cool. We're basically taking some of her older photos, some of the ones that we just held up, and trying to replicate those today with her looks, where we did the hair, the makeup. We try to get as much costume as we could to make it look and you still have the original. If you're fans of the movie Better Off Dead with John Cusack, if you've not seen that movie, it's one of the biggest 80s hits. You'll recognize if you watch the trailer or whatnot. But she's still in the movie. You have like a little cute little brown hat. She's a French exchange student.
It look like this. So if you do see this movie, you have to say, all right, who is this girl? It is me. And they
Monique.
Monique. Which, by the way, there's so many things to talk about. I mean, oh my gosh. I have a new book, and I'm just going to show you this so you can see. This is what it looked like in the movie. So if this brings back memories.
See the jacket, see the hat. She brought the jacket and the hat with her. And you just even have it. I'm like this, like a security blanket for me. It's like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I will post a video of it later, but the famous picture of her and John Cusack, they're on like a 69 Camaro, the hood of it. He's sitting there playing a saxophone. She's got his back to him with his head rested against his shoulder. So we replicated the photo. My daughter took the photo.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I have my camera instead of a saxophone, and I'm aiming kind of up in the air, and I'll never forget it.
Kevin, he had the idea. He said to me, the minute we were discussing the coming over here and doing some photo shoots, and a photo shoot, and I thought, okay, so maybe we can. I couldn't do this with every photographer, and I really thought. I mean, that's really why I came out here. I knew Kevin was the only person who would get this and understand it, because you have to have a love of the 80s to replicate these photos, and also to understand what the fans are looking for. We just want to go back in time, and so I thought it would be really cool if we did these sort of shots where you see me, past and now present. But what was great is I didn't have his vision of the car thing. And so you told me, you said, oh, I have this great idea. I want to shoot this thing on the car. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and I honestly, this is so funny. I brought a turtleneck that I was going to use for Amityville. And then I went, wait a minute. I used that turtleneck for that scene as well. So it worked perfectly. I just put it on and we shot it. And I will never ever
forget that, because I'll have that for the rest of my life. I'll never forget that exact moment. And I'm thinking, this is like one of those moments you kind of go, damn, this really happened. I really got this.
Well,
she gets emotional very easy, by the way.
Yeah, and then the other thing too, people might say to me, well, why did you come all the way to Kentucky to work with this photographer? There's a lot of reasons. I mean, Kevin is, first of all, super comfortable, super nice. And I love his work. I just really noticed it was really exceptional. But the other thing is I have a background in modeling, and it really brought back the days when I did all this modeling. I mean, literally shot so many commercial, catalog work. And I traveled with modeling, and I did print work, and I even did hand modeling, I think, just even all the different aspects of modeling. And you shoot winter stuff in summer and summer stuff in winter. At least back in the 80s, you did. I don't know. They still do
if they're doing collections.
Yeah, you got to do it before. So modeling is the most uncomfortable. It looks so relaxing, and so, but it is the most uncomfortable. It requires body control and listening and working with the photographer, and not. It is not without a certain amount of self-discipline. You have to learn it. And it was great training for me. And it was great training for me for acting. So I always assumed that people like all actors had some experience. You experience if you take dance because you have to do certain steps. But I never occurred to me that that was a part of the learning process. And going back and shooting with him, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember this. You know, I remember the experience of shooting with the photographers who were professional, who ask you to do certain things and move certain ways. And it's very subtle. It's very specific. And if you're working with a professional, they are going to guide you. They know what they're doing. And Kevin is amazing. So I highly recommend him as a photographer, regardless of all this. But you brought back great memories for me, you know, just like going back in the past and visiting my career.
So when you're doing the modeling gigs, okay, so I've been trying to tell a lot of models about, a lot of them are asking about the acting workshop. Like, what do you do? I don't know if I want to get involved in that because that's what I model. But when I do, Stella's back there growling. When I do, when I was in the modeling business in Miami, in Los Angeles, a lot of the jobs I did were like TV commercial stuff. And you have to know how to read. It's not about like knowing how to read, but how to read a script,
no,
how to bring the emotion, the character, the experience. How's your voice sound? Can you change your dialect, your accents? Can you change emotional, happy, deep, and make it smoothing and talk? And she can do English, German. I could even do a bit of a Southern drawl a little bit and change things up a little bit. But so it's when you can study acting, even just this much of it, doesn't mean you have to be in movies, but I'm telling you, people, when you get in front of a camera or a crew and they're casting you for a job, they're looking those casting people are always looking for new faces for jobs they already have in the works. Yeah. And if you have just a smidge of acting experience, it can put you over the edge as far as getting work. It separates you. I mean, honestly, you can't be a model without knowing how to act. You need that body and voice connection. It will give you the edge. Absolutely. If someone doesn't, I mean, it was so interesting. I was even talking about like sports figures, you know, let's say you're an amazing soccer player, amazing football player. You're going to get interviewed at some point. You're going to have to know how to work with the camera, how to deal with it. It's only going to benefit you. So don't go into a shy place with it, but be brave, take a chance. You have nothing to lose. Exactly. And the greatest thing is once you kind of understand how to do it, it's very fun. It's super fun and relaxing. And, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I highly recommend, I mean, absolutely, if you want to be in the entertainment business at all, it's going to help you. If you're a model, you need to step out of your comfort zone and try it. You know, get training, go to someone who will work with you with your voice. I'll say this, like as a model, you don't think you're going to be using your voice. You know, you think, oh, you know, so you might have someone and, you know, and their voice really high, like, and they're talking like this. And you like, look at them and they're like, and right, you're like, oh my gosh, it doesn't match, you know? And I'm not saying you shouldn't be who you are, but you need to have that in your pocket to understand, to become it. And so like, as an example, like Kevin, you know, Kevin can have a higher register when he's talking, but when he's working, he knows how to bring his lower register down. And he's got an amazing, I was going to say, like, some people, you don't even realize your voice might come from your chest, your stomach, or your throat. But it enhances. It's like you might have a singing voice. Like when he spoke, I was like, you must have an amazing singing voice because his cavity is so low and he can go there. Not everyone can do that. So I really think it's important for anyone who does acting or wants to host, or let's face it, YouTube, TikTok, your voice your influencer people.
You're influencers. You absolutely have to embrace your body and your voice.
By the way, her daughter, Olivia, is a huge influencer. She has a business partner, Sydney Keller. Yeah. And Olivia De Laurentiis, Sydney Keller. Yeah. And I'll give you a great example of how influencers can make money. Mm-hmm. She literally right now has mono and COVID at the same freaking time. And she just still had to do a gig. She had to like talk about a product while she's coughing probably. But to give you, but they get paid to do that because she's got almost 1 million followers on TikTok, over 30,000 or 60,000 on Instagram, I think.
Yeah, they were written up, I think by Funny and Die, I'm not sure I'm wrong, but they're, it's like the #1 comedy or like top 10 comedy.
And they're working
like
on
the #1
TV
comedy,
show
TikTok, yeah. If you look up Sid, SYD, and Olivia on TikTok, you'll find them. And then from that, you can branch out into like, they have a YouTube show, Sid and Olivia talk, beep.
And they move, they act. They're Livy's been
too.
in, Livy's been in movies.
She's an American, she was in Pivoting, the TV series. She was in American Boogeyman, Ted Bundy, American Boogeyman. You can watch it now on Hulu, and we're both in it, which is super cool. Fun. And her boyfriend, I'm going to do the plug, Jake Hayes. He is in the film. He plays the lead character, Robert Rissler, but also he is a singer. So check out Jake Hayes' music. Oh my gosh, gorgeous, gorgeous. Has an 80s flair to it, but
speaking of 80s,
right. So here we go with the 80s. So
on her first night here, or second night here, so she was it 82? You played Amityville or Amityville the Possession Part 2?
Well, first movie I did was Last American Virgin. That was the first film I ever did.
Gotcha.
I started with modeling, commercials, theater, soap opera. If you're interested in just my general career, general career, and you don't know anything about me, this is a book to get. It's on YouTube and Amazon. YouTube, Amazon. See, like you can tell my age, right? I'm on YouTube age. So this is on Amazon. This is my first book, Excellent Adventures of the Last American French Exchange Babe of the 80s. Yes, very fun. But then the first movie I ever did was Last American Virgin. And if you like that, that's my second book. This book is amazing, has incredible photos. But this talks about the cool things
that happen behind the scenes, and the stories that you wish you heard, and
incredible, like the background. And if you're an actor, these are invaluable. Like you will learn so much about the entertainment business. My basic idea was that when I put these books out, I really didn't think people would remember me. Like I didn't think like that was something that was a given, because there's a lot of people who had bigger names than me. But I wanted to bring out the fact that what is an actor's life? How do you get from the suburbs to become a star? How does that even happen? How does that, how do you grow? And so the books I have give the people who want to be famous a chance to see the inside scoop of that, and that I'm still here, and I'm still working, and how does that even happen? And it's not that it's going to happen for everyone, but it really has to do with your choices and your sacrifices and what you're willing to put in. We were talking about originally like actors living here in Kentucky, and you can audition for things in Kentucky, but you will have to travel to do the jobs. And you want to save, and you want to make money, and you want to put yourself in a situation where you can do that, because the dream is possible, but you have to prep for it
and make effort to do it,
and and commit to yourself. Okay.
Right.
Honestly, in the world, if you don't believe in yourself the most, how do you expect other people to believe in you? You have to, and I don't say that you have to be all it, but you have to say to yourself, you know what? Everybody's got something maybe that they're shy about, they don't want to talk about, or whatever, like that's your thing. But what makes you special? Like, let's see what that is. Like, what makes you, why do you think you stand out? What do you think you have to offer? And I really think that's such an important part of the entertainment business.
Right.
And I'm the biggest person. Like I had a dream when I was 4 years old to be on TV and film. That was my dream. And I never gave up the dream. And my parents luckily were supportive. They never said, what, which can influence your life. If somebody says that's silly, and you believe them, but that's why the entertainment business has to do with, you have to believe in yourself first. So somebody says, you can't do it. And you might be like, yeah, I can't do it. But in the meantime, you're getting your pictures done and you're doing it, and you're making the effort. You're doing, not just talking about it. My gosh. And then all of a sudden they go, wait, how did you get that movie? How did you get that? And it's because you showed you believed in yourself. So
when you put yourself in the energy of doing something, you start to become that energy. And I always say, surround yourself with like people that you would like to see yourself with. And we talked about like the movies and modeling, and we said number one thing, location.
Yeah.
If you want to model, if you want to do
housing
acting,
and like housing, right? They say that.
It's a lot to it. You have to be in the right place. Los Angeles is where the angels are for movies.
Yes.
Even they film everywhere, but castings happen.
And Georgia now, well, even Georgia,
Yeah.
like even the places that, and I just also FYI, there's a new studio being built in, or might be finished in New Jersey. So like, you got to keep, if you want to be in the entertainment business, keep your eye out for where all the production is going on. Yeah. And then you need to start saving, finding a way to make money. I don't care what you do. Why do people were like waitressing, whatever. They do that because they want their days free. Now the entertainment business has changed so much. You can do a lot at home. Speaking of which, we were talking about, like if you are creating your own content at home, you know, now we're going to have an example of like what makes your Instagram place, your world special. You know, why are people going to tune in? And I always go from the audience perspective, like what would I want to see? I think that's a really good place to, what would you want to see if you turned on a Instagram thing? And it could be something very simple. You know, maybe you're just talking about, you know, what you did during the day or what you ate or your exercise routine. Obviously that's the new thing. But anyway, not to go away from the 80s. I've worked since I started acting when I was
20, right? Or
no,
you got TV commercials sooner.
I started 10, but my first film was Last American Virgin. That was the thing you were about to talk about. First, we did this film. If you see this film, if you haven't seen it, The Last American Virgin, you will hate me.
You will not like her.
You will not like me.
You're gonna be like, oh, why did you do that? Yeah.
So not to have any spoilers, but this is what the film looks like. So, but this film is beloved by so many people. Guys love it.
It was a big movie there.
Girls love it. So it's an 80s, and it is like an 80s time capsule.
Yep.
The music, the style. So if you don't know what the 80s are and you'd like to know, this is the movie. The subject matter, the fashion, the hair, right?
Yep.
So highly recommend that.
So then you went from that, and at the same time, the same year, you were doing Amityville II, The Possession.
Yes.
Where she plays a 15-year-old girl, I think?
Yep, like 15, 14, 15.
But she was 20 when she filmed it.
Yeah. And so this is a kind of an exciting part of the film. But this movie is a classic horror film.
Yeah.
This is a totally, if you love horror, this is the film. In fact, I've been told, but obviously this is, you know, people tell me, of course they might tell somebody else something different, that Amityville 2 was their favorite of all the Amityvilles. They loved this one. And I did this when I was 20, and it was shot in Toms River, New Jersey and Mexico. Which is crazy. She said the interior shots that you see in the movie, everything inside was in Mexico. I was like, wait, so did you even see the Amityville house? No, I didn't, which is on my bucket list. I'll tell you. But she did tell me a guy that she knows bought the windows from the original Amityville house. Yes. I'm excited. I'm going to hopefully do like some kind of little photo shoot with him at his place. He's an incredible makeup artist. So I'm going to go check it out when I go back to LA. So Friday like I said, you know when we filmed this, but 2 nights ago, we actually watched Amityville Murders. Oh yes, it filmed in that was recorded, or you made it in 2017. Right? Yes, 2017 we shot it. It came out in 2018. You can watch it on YouTube or Google Movies. You can rent or buy it there right now. So the very special part of this was when I did Amityville, The Possession. I was 20, and a young man who was 12 years old at the time. Everyone watches it when they're 12. I'm like, where were your parents? But they watched. He watched the film and he was so scared, but he never forgot it. And when he got older, he became a writer-director. He actually wrote one of the Halloween films. He produced it, but he didn't direct yet. And he decided to write this movie called Amityville Murders. That was the first movie he wrote and directed. Right. And he found me and he asked me, he said, would you play Louise Defeo, which is now the mother in the story. So what we're talking about is in the family, at first I played the daughter, but because now he wrote a story that was similar to the first, and now I play the mother. So that was such a trip for me because emotionally I had to see the film from 2 different perspectives. It was basically the same film, and no other actress has ever played the daughter and the mother in the same story. 40 years apart. 40 years apart. Thereabouts, yeah. Yeah, it's like a gem. I mean, it really is an amazing experience. So I think it's really cool. And actually, I think if you go to Hulu, you can see Amityville the possession right now, and then you can go to, let's say, YouTube and watch Amityville.
It's on Amazon
Murders.
too. Yeah.
And you liked it.
I did.
Oh, it's more of a drama.
What was really cool is she's sitting there watching it with Brittany and I, and I keep looking over at her, and she's going like this. She's like, just, oh my gosh, this part here, this is real. Oh, this is good. Watch this. Okay, hold on.
It's coming.
Okay, here it goes. I mean, she's into it. I almost forgot, like the woman on the screen is sitting 8 feet away from me, watch this movie with me. It was a surreal little moment. I kept looking over going, wow. I actually, she didn't know, but I took a picture of the TV that I turned over. I took a picture of her going,
yeah, right. Like, I was just like,
you know about the second part, did you?
No, I didn't know. That's really good. I'm glad. I mean, again, like, it's seeing my work today.
And she plays because Amityville is in Long Island, New York, if you didn't know that. And she is originally from Long
Island and talking like this. You know, my friends, everyone's talking like this, right, honey? Yep. Like, right, you know. So, you know, I like, when I did the film as the mother, it just brought back so many personal memories of living in Long Island and learning to, you know, just like the life. Like, one of the things I think is so wonderful about film is bringing what the real life is when you live there, like the authentic, because when you look back, you go, oh, wow, that was what it was like. So when I looked at 1974, I was like, yeah, that to me was so much 1974. Yep. It was the things on TV and how the house looked and the behavior, how it was so different. And when you watch Amityville Murders, he was very surprised, like, what's with this family? And I'm like, oh no, that's like,
what was happening?
Very normal. That was very normal then. And if you see it, you know, it might bring some personal feelings for you. Like, oh, wow. Like, I know what that's like. Or maybe you're like, oh, I had no idea families could be like that. So. And
this movie, it's based on the original. Yeah. What happened with the Defeos in the 1974, where the brother ends up killing all the family. But then it also the director, what's his name again?
Daniel Ferrens.
He's like he researched the living crap out of the original stuff and brought all this. He wrote a documentary about it.
He wrote the documentary, yes. So that's what made it so cool to do the film with him, because he did the documentary, obviously all based on facts, but then he did the narrative. And remember, a narrative has to create some drama. Yeah. So, but yet there's so many real facts in it. And I even know that, like, there was a friend of his, Scotty, who meticulously created the floor in the Amityville Murders movie to look like the original floor in the real house. Yeah. And that is love. Like, that is the love of the genre. Yeah. And I love working with that. I love working with people who are at the top of their game and professional at whatever they do. Yeah. It doesn't matter whatever it is. And so here with Kevin, like, he is top of his game. Like, I just love that. Like, when you have everybody who's the best is what they do, and then you put them in a room together and everyone does their best, that is phenomenal. Right. Like, that's a magical experience for any performer.
In the movie, the Amityville Murders. One thing I really appreciated is how they, like you say, he brought back the 74 story, but he doesn't. Okay, so it's a lot of supernatural, paranormal stuff that happens. But in this particular movie, he kind of, in my opinion, he left it open where either the son is schizophrenic and he sees some crazy shit that no one else sees, and the mafia was involved and did some business in it, or the paranormal really was there and it did the business. Because I like how it's up to you to interpret. That, I think, is an excellent thing for audiences. Whenever you write a film, you've got to understand, how do you leave the audience feeling at the end? That is the most important thing, I think, about writing. Yeah. You could go through this journey of but at the end, how do you want the audience to feel? And this was an example of, like, the director did like an ode. You know, you see the some of the footage of at the end of what really happened. Scene photos. Yeah. So you're actually involved in the story, and you realize, like, okay, this is based on, the narrative is based on it, but it's a true story. So you have to take it to heart. Yeah. But you also realize, like, what happened. And the thing for me, oh, by the way, I never got to tell you this. When I was shooting it, as a young person, when I did Amityville II, I stayed very innocent. Like, I didn't put any, sometimes you have an energy that flows. I mean, when you're shooting pictures too, there's an energy in the room and you feel it and you go with it. So when I did Amityville
the possession, I was keeping that innocent energy, and I didn't want to like have anything negative or bad coming to me. But as the mother, when I played it, I allowed that in, and I had some absolutely paranormal experiences happen. It was unbelievable. And if you get the Amityville murders, there's too many Amityvilles here.
There's a lot.
If you get the Blu-ray, somebody did a documentary at the end, or like a special scenes where they went to each person in the cast and they asked them what weird things happened. And there were things I didn't even realize. Like I didn't know from other people that they experienced it while we were shooting that. So I'm telling you, like, if you bring in bad energy, it affects you. Like it happens. I had this, one of the things that was telling him in the movie, there's a scene and I lose my voice. In the kitchen, you hear my voice is like scratchy. And I lost my voice while we were shooting. And in my entire life, I have never lost my voice.
That's right. And she had a lip sync later on, right? Added in later.
Yeah.
You can see her mouth is slightly off. And I was like, wait a minute. And you told me the story.
Yeah. But the thing about it is that I lost my voice, but there was no screaming before. You would think like, oh, you screamed, so you lost your voice. We shot this in the summer, so it wasn't like cold weather, like people were getting colds. And literally, I lost my voice for maybe 3 days out of a month shoot. And that's a lot. Like, I mean, I didn't even know how much I worked within that month, but it was highly unusual. And we all kind of went, well, it's like the Amityville thing. You just got to go with the flow. Don't tense up. If it's something, mom, don't talk. Like, I don't know. I'm serious. It was definitely strange, but other things happened too. Very strange. So anyway, don't mess with the dark side. Don't mess with the dark side.
When you mentioned you kept your innocence in the original 82 movie.
Yeah.
When you fast forward to 2017, you're almost 60 years old, right?
Yes.
Where do you see like the difference between how you did movies then and how you did movies in 2017 or now? Like the maturity that you have, the knowledge that you have, the comfort level, Thank
you for asking. Okay, so when I first started, it was, I very much relied on watching other actors, watching their performances, and finding the actors that I really liked and wanted to emulate. And I had my acting training. It was, people would come, you were very more skeptical of getting real full training at the time. It wasn't like it is today, where you can really like look reviews up and look people up. It was word of mouth. But even then, when you were younger, it was like more like just trust your gut, trust your instinct. And so I spent a lot of time, observing, watching people working, and picking up from other professionals, watching other professionals. Yeah. But I also knew what I could play. And at the time, it was more trusting my gut, and knowing, I don't know, like just because I had spent so many years like prepping. I started at 10. By the time I did the film, I was 20. I grew up, and I lived life. And I have to say, when a very much part of the actor's world is experiencing life. You cannot play what you really don't understand or know in your heart. You have to be able to play.
Because you're a mom now, and you play a mom in the movie now. You do, right?
So now today, since then I did study acting. I trained, and that was really helpful, because now as an adult actor, not only do you, as a young actor, you're playing yourself, but as an adult actor, now you're playing yourself under a lot of different situations. Whether you've been divorced, or you're a drug addict, or you're like just, or you have some disease, or you have some, or you, let's say you have we call it an impediment. You've got something that you've got a problem in your life. You're now growing, or you're an alcoholic. Like, these things are not just one day shots. They're like your life changes. So that's where acting training really came into fruition. So let's say, for instance, you're an older person, never acted in your life. You've lived a full life. You may be able to play that character, and you're going to play that one character well because you know that life, and it's authentic and it's real because you've lived that life. But if you're an actor, you're going to study and train, and you're going to bring all that life into different characters.
Right.
So it just is like acting training, I think, really benefits the older actor because now they can play so many different people. I mean, but it does take, you know, it takes training, but it also is, if you love it, it's not
You'll show
hard.
your passion.
If you love it, you love it. And I will share this also. There are people who are natural actors because they have the emotion. Some actors are very, you know, thinker actors. Some are very emotion. The interesting part is when you're mixing the thinking and the emotion together is where you get like, wow, it's like a piece of art, you know?
Would you consider yourself an emotional actor?
No, I don't think of myself as an emotion actor, but I do. So that's why I think there's a lot of other actors who are more gifted with emotion, but I am but I love acting, and I do whatever passion I have, I connect, and I'm a very open actor. I have different qualities that make me stand out.
In the movies I've seen you in, majority of a lot of them, most of them, but you put your all in every character. Like I said, in the very tail end of the Last American Virgin, not just the tail end, the whole movie. I mean, you see yourself like this 18 or 17-year-old girl in the movie, and you put yourself in that, and you see it when you're watching the movie. I think any movie you watch, if you can put yourself in there and you forget, like I said earlier about the Amityville murders, here she is in the movie. She's sitting 8 feet away. I forgot that she's sitting right there because I'm that much involved in the movie. And I can either watch a movie for 15 minutes and say, nah, let's watch something else. And it's like, because once you get involved in it, this movie catches your attention. It gets you either emotionally, physically, something you can relate with, whatever. And they know how to tell a story.
And
you know how to tell a story through your characters.
Through my character. My job is when I get a role, it's like, this is my part that I can contribute. One of the things I'm able to do is become vulnerable. And that is a very big thing. You will hear, if you're an actor, a model, whatever, people say, I want to see your vulnerability. When I was younger, I wasn't quite sure what that meant. Now, as I'm older, I look back and go, oh, I completely get it. I completely get it, because why should somebody watch you unless you show your vulnerability? A lot of mistake that actors make is they play anger. And when you play anger, okay, anger is about dignity. But if you're just angry, nobody wants to just watch anger. They want to watch anger with the vulnerability under.
Right.
So there are people like, you want to stand up for your rights. You want to stand up for something that was done to you in a movie. Let's say like there's a part where you're like a lot of cops or like something. We want to see the vulnerability underneath, because anger is it's a negative energy. I mean, let's face it. If you argue with somebody, someone's mad at you, you want to back away.
Yeah.
So it's same thing with film, and it's very close up. So why don't you want to get close to that? You don't. If you see that vulnerability underneath, you're like, okay, this person is about to break. Like there's something underneath. So there's an example of actually experience. You know, as you learn what makes things engaging on film, you know, vulnerability. It's not just like, and I've done nudity, but like, it's not just about nudity. It's not just about being physically nudity. It's about emotional vulnerability. And so
that's a good way of putting it.
Certainly for me, when I did films, all the films that I did, I only did nudity 3 times. And for me, I did them because they were part of the storyline. And as an actor, that to me is what made it important. You need to see me vulnerable physically and emotionally to feel for me.
Right. And
you know, look, I played in a lot of those young girl, and now like I played the innocent ingenue, and then today I play. I always wondered like how people are going to cast me, and I was like, okay, well I could play somebody tough, but I'm like, yeah, I could, but you're not going to cast me as that. You're mostly going to cast me as maybe the empathetic mom or something. I don't know. Like I am interested.
Right.
How would you cast me? I don't even know. Like like it's just people see you as who you are, and then they want to put you in a story based with that emotion. So I don't know. What do you think? What would you cast me in?
Interesting that you say that. She told me about another movie that's not been released yet that she's in.
Oh my gosh.
I can almost kind of see her playing a villain. Like she's like this sweet little person in real life. She's 5'2", by the way. I picked her up from the airport. I said, "You're little," you know. But I can see you just being like this, like mafia woman or like serial killer woman. Like you got a hate for something and you want to bring it out. Like and she mentioned
flip is cool.
In our acting class yesterday how people get certain emotions with them, and if they're to touch their emotional side, they'll kind of scratch their right side of their head, right?
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed throughout this video, you keep touching this side of your head as you're talking.
Oh,
I've noticed it several times.
It's itchy. you, but that's fine.
What's on that side?
This is the right side. This is think, Diane.
Think side. So I'll ask you this, like when it comes to anyone you've ever worked with, like actor mentors, like who have you worked with that like say, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to work with this person and I got the chance to meet him and work with them. Like who would that be that was really stood out?
That's amazing. You know, okay, so that's a really good question. When I was younger, I would have, in my imagination, like I would have loved to work with Meryl Streep and Robert De Niro. But here's the funny part. I met Robert De Niro actually, which is kind of funny. And looking at myself and that both of those actors, I'm like, I would not put myself in a movie like with them. We have a different tone. There's a different energy. So I can see why not. But okay, so here's an example. Now, for instance, I think I would do it would be really cool to work with Robert Downey Jr. Like I think I would work really well with him. Or I think I could even do a movie with Tom Cruise if there was the right tone. Like I could bring it in. And I mean, there's certain actors that I go, that would be so interesting to work. I could see myself working with them. Yep. What I really would love, I'd love if John Cusack and I did a movie together again. That'd be great. Or Keanu, like that'd just be very fun. I mean, just to go back and bring that.
Even if you were in a John Wick flick with
yes. Oh my gosh, just as a little side thing.
You one of the hit women.
Yeah, like, you know, pull the hair back and like, yeah,
that'd be a cool.
So I think it would be fun. I think what's really fun for the audience is just to see different people together and mix and match. I've always wondered, what actors would be fun to work with. And then, I mean, there's actors I admire, that I just find interesting. I'm trying to think. Okay, you know who I think would be really interesting to work with? Okay, what is his name? Everybody in the audience is gonna know this person. And I, of course, don't know their name. I think he dated a Kardashian girl and he's got really short hair and really big eyes. And he used to be on SNL. Everyone knows, right?
Oh, Pete Davidson.
Yes, I think he would be an amazing person to act with. There's something like, I think we would have so much fun working together, but that's just like a bizarre, because he's out of the box and you have to have out of the box people together to work, like things pop. I don't know.
And she's got a very comic side to her, comedic side. You do.
Yeah. So I've done, well, now I even have a movie on Peacock right now called High Holiday. I have a small role. I play opposite. Well, I have a scene at the beginning of the film. It's brought back, but it's with Tom Arnold, Jennifer Tilly, and Cloris Leachman, the late Cloris Leachman. She never got to see the film, I think.
Oh, wow.
So you can see that on Peacock, High Holiday. So, and I play uptight women.
I remember Meg Tilly.
Yeah.
I remember her from a lot of 80s movies I've seen. And
yes. And Meg Tilly, well, Jennifer Tilly is the sister. We actually did a TV, Tilly. Right. No, see, this is all this. Yeah. Jennifer Tilly, she has like a voice like this and she's like really cute. And she's the voice of, she's
good.
Character,
that was good.
Jennifer Tilly, like, she's my best friend. I love her. She's Chucky in the Chucky movies.
Did not realize.
Yeah, though she's the woman there, and that's her like world, like amazing talent. But she's been working forever, and we did a TV series called Boone, and we played best friends on the show. And she is her sister is Meg Tilly, and Meg Tilly was in a movie called.
Several movies, but
yes, but I'm remembering her. The first movie was, what is it, Diane? No, darn it. She's dark hair. Look up Meg Tilly. She's amazing. She originally got the role in Amadeus.
Oh, gotcha.
And that role, she was to play Costanza in Amadeus, and she hurt her leg. And then I went with another girl to audition, to screen test to Prague. And it was between me and the other girl got it. It's Elizabeth Barrage got the part. And so our lives are very kind of entwined. And, it's very interesting because we're so different. Meg Tilly, myself, and Elizabeth Barrage are so different in energy and personality, but we're all petite brunettes. And so I always wondered, like, what was it that they brought us together, but we were all petite brunettes. So when you're working, like sometimes you might compete with somebody and go, why am I competing with them? We have such different energy, such different acting. but it's sometimes just the look too, you know? So anyway, that's just interesting. I love
let me ask you this question then.
All right.
Was there a movie you were ever had a chance to audition for that you did not, that you wish you would have? That's
a great question. What do I wish that I had auditioned for?
Because you hear some stories where actors, they could have had the part, but they didn't do it, but then the movie ended up going big. And they're like, damn.
Yeah.
I wish.
Well, I auditioned. I did. I got a call back for Flashdance. That would have been fun. I would love that. That would. But I would look very young.
I have to have Jennifer Beals in my studio one time. She was that when I was, 81. I was probably 9 years old, and that's the first actress I've ever seen where I was like, woman.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. And
if you happen to know Jennifer Beals, then
no, I don't. See. But Last American Virgin allowed the curly hair, that ethnicity, that dark beauty to be fashionable, and that brought that in. Yeah. I mean, Jennifer Beals was the first, I think, to me, maybe not, but first ethnic beauty lead. That was just a major part of our culture, our change. Amazing. And if you haven't seen Flashdance,
Willard by day and she dances by night, who has a dream of being a ballet professional dancer that way.
It's stunning though. Everything is stunning.
It's one of Jerry Bruckheimer's first films.
Point out. I mean, you'll see why that made such a big nowadays. Like there's a lot of different ethnicities in film, but that was, think of it as being like the first really. It was sort of like she was young beauty, teen ethnic beauty, like just, it was like, it didn't matter anything. She was just gorgeous. Yeah. So anyway, but let's see, what movie would I have done like to do? There were some movies, I mean,
your agent calls you, it says, Diane, I have this movie I want you to try. And you're like, I just don't have time. And then you watch the movie later on, you're like, oh man,
why didn't I do that?
Why did I not do that?
Well, I wish I had auditioned for Dirty Dancing, but I think I was a dancer, but I didn't show I was a ballet dancer. But that would have been fun. Cool. Just have been fun to do.
Not even if you had baby, if you were in the movie itself, there was so many parts in it. Yeah.
To sing and dance. I wish I would have been, I think I did audition for 16 Candles.
Another iconic 80s film.
Yeah.
You could probably count all the iconic 80s film on two hands, 10 movies probably all together. Dirty Dancing is one of them.
Karate Kid, I screen tested. It was between myself, Elizabeth Shue, who is wonderful, by the way. She's awesome. I love her. Beautiful, nice, across the board, awesome. And one other actress, I don't even know who it was, but it was between the three of us for that. But I think what's interesting is the career turns your life takes.
I didn't know the Karate Kid story.
Karate Kid.
I did not know that.
What else I auditioned for? I think, maybe The Babysitter. Oh, Bachelor Party. And that's interesting because Tawny Katane got that.
And she passed away not too long ago.
And she did. And I met her. I can't even believe I did a podcast with her, like just shortly before.
Yeah. And I just did a podcast with a guy in California, Pete. He has a Spotify show called The Trade Winds. He interviewed me and he's telling me this whole story, how he friended Tawny Katane. And little by little, she finally said, yes, let's do the thing. So they recorded it. And while he was editing it, before it came out, he got the news that she passed away.
Oh, no.
And he said he was heartbroken because they got to be kind of cool buds and friends online.
And she didn't even get to see the final thing.
Not at all.
I tell you, people, take care of your body, take care of your brain. You've got one brain, you got one body, take good care of it. The world, look, things will happen. You never know. You get in a car accident. So it's your temple. Take good care of it. Put good things in it. Don't treat it like crap because you got one. And if you have treated like crap, well, take it slow. Just take care of it.
So here's my not question, but I want to talk about this. Your biggest movie, I think, ever was Better Off Dead.
Oh, I love these.
It was her 80s hit. I'll be 50 coming up. If you were born in the 80s or you love 80s movies, Better Off Dead, like I said, it's one of those movies you can count on two hands. It's one of the best movies in the 80s to watch. And I'll never forget that movie with you, John Cusack, and the guy who plays Booger, Curtis.
Oh, Curtis Armstrong.
Curtis Armstrong.
Yes. So if you haven't seen the movie, it's because you know, first of all, it might be hard to find right now, but you can definitely get it on Amazon to rent or buy. This is a cult classic. I found a lot of parents actually who've seen the film pass it down to their kids, and so their kids like it. The cool thing is it's not a long drawn movie, it's still short, so I've been told like it really can still translate, and it is hilarious.
How did that movie change your life? Because you've already done this. It came out in 84, right?
85.
So you had Last American Virgin, Amityville in 82. So in that year you did more TV, and
I did a movie. I also did a Summer Girl, a TV movie, which Diane Lane was supposed to get. I got this role, and then
so then this one comes
Deadly
along.
Lessons and I did a movie called Second Time Lucky, and then Better Off Dead comes, and I'm going to bring the book because it brings back such amazing memories. This you have to watch the movie first and then get this book, and this is also on Amazon. This was a labor of love. This was, I mean, all my books are from the heart, but this one I felt more responsibility for, because I had to get, like, it wasn't just my personal experience. It was, I wanted people to look back and go, bring back all the memories. So I did, the director, writer, Savage, Steve Holland, gave me such wonderful, he gave me like pages and pages of things I didn't even know when we did the film, like back behind the scenes info. And he writes, you're going to laugh out loud. Like the way he writes is so funny. And then I got to do interviews with people that were never done before. So I got to find out things. If you're a Better Off Dead fan, you're now going to see things that you wish, you know how everyone wants the special features.
This is the special feature book.
So you're going to get the special features. You get their Savage, or you can't, it's like, well,
you'll find out. They kind of just turn the light a little bit on it, and
there's Savage, and there's like a chapter. So what I did was, like, I talk about the script, and I talk about the actors, and like, for instance, Charles DeMar. There you go. I have an interview with Charles. I have an interview with Amanda Wiss. She was in Nightmare on Elm Street, so I have a whole thing with her. And I just basically took each person and did interviews and a chapter on every actor. If you watch the film, it's one of those films you watch over and over again, and probably will be most popular during Christmas time, because it revolves around, it happens around Christmas. So I made
Curtis's character, like when they're going down the skiing thing, his lines are hysterical.
Oh my goodness. Oh, he had the best quotes. Like, people come up to me and they say to me, you know, I don't know, like all the lines, like, what's a kid like you doing in a, like, with smut like this, like it was from the mailman. Anyway, there's so many things, but I also want to share the thing that got me to write the book was I bring the coat that I wore in the film. I still own this, to conventions
and to my studio.
Yes. And we got to use it for a shoot. And what I did was, I've been doing conventions for a while, and all the people who have ever worn the coat are in this book.
That's so cool.
So either they're wearing the coat or I've worn the coat with them. So everyone sent me their permission and they sent me the photos. So this is a very special thing, because all the people got to share having the books there. And then I asked people how Better Off Dead affected their life. Like, you know, movies affect your life.
Yeah, they do.
Certainly. I mean, I'm sure, like, you watch a movie now and you may not realize it, but it might affect your life in the future, how you deal with the situation, how you see it. So
it brings back memories of what you were doing right when that movie came out. Like, it might bring back a thought, you know, just what was happening in your life when you watched this movie. And that's how I relate a lot of my life. And I love movies.
And what I did was I included quotes of people and stories about
that is so cool.
How it affected people's lives, you know, little bits and pieces from different people. Some people said, you know, that, you know, they quote the lines all the time. Some people said they actually had a French exchange student in their life. Some people said they was looking for a girl with dark curly hair. There's so many different perspectives, but again, real. And you can't get this anywhere. So anyway, I do this because I felt like it was important for those who love the film to get
And do you love it when you go to like these conventions and people see you and they're like, oh my gosh, you're in this movie and I was doing this and I remember you from this. Oh my God. You know, does that like still get to you this day?
Well, first of all, you know, it is, I have to tell you, it's a gift. Like that just doesn't happen all the time. Like I always think it's a really gift when people remember me, because again, what you grow up with is famous to you, but your child who's 10 is not going to know who that person is. So it's always special. Yeah. And when people come to see me, I really just try to make it like their day got better. Yeah. And I think there are other actors who do feel that way when we go do conventions. I try to spread that feeling to other actors. I've gotten other actors, to young, you know, actresses of the 80s, to do more conventions by, like, I started, and when I did it, not a lot of them did it. And I was like, no, you should do this because you're going to be able to give back to the audience. And so there's been a lot of actresses who now
and see her emotional side coming out in her.
You know, I've inspired, and it makes me really happy to see them go out and put themselves out there at these conventions. And by the way, if you don't know, there are many different kinds: horror conventions, comic book conventions, celebrity conventions. If you go to a convention with somebody that you grew up with, I guarantee it will be one of the best days of your life, if not the best. Yeah. Because suddenly everything comes together. It's better than buying a shirt, like clothes. It's better than getting makeup. It's better than a lot of things in life, to meet that person that you've always grown up with. Hopefully they're nice. Oh, yeah. Hopefully you come to me, I guarantee it. But sometimes you meet people and you go, oh man,
and I can tell you, for me doing what I do now, I don't just do the acting workshops. I'm a photographer by life. It's my trade. But I try to bring in actors, working actors, people that I grew up with. And to like have you in my studio is such a surreal thing. I've had Tony Hudson, Catherine Mary Stewart. I've had you here, and it's just like, wow, this is like really happening. And it's like,
and he stays very professional. I don't see it at all. But that's like afterwards you go, wow, did that just happen? Like that.
I'm like a big fanboy. I won't lie. It's pretty much, yeah.
I love that.
I just take their pictures while I'm a fanboy. You know, I'll get the goosebump moment. I will say, like, when I met Tony Hudson. If you don't know who Tony Hudson is, she played in a big 80 movie, Just One of the Guys. That's one of those 10 movies you can count on your fingers, Just One of the Guys. Yeah. When I met her in person for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And then she was so sweet. I found out she can sing unbelievably. Yeah. She's very good at turn on emotions. She can cry on a snap of a finger.
See, there's like the gift. You have that, you know, like that.
And when I met Catherine Mary Stewart, she was one of my crushes when I was 12 years old from The Last Starfighter. I jokingly called her Mags when she was here. But I remember that she gave me, I said, I have my camera up. I said, now give me a smile, turn your head this way. She gave me this smile. It was the same smile she had in The Last Starfighter. I had goosebumps from head to toe. Wow. So then when you and I were shooting, I had my daughter Alexis here, and we redid the picture of her and John Cusack on the Camaro.
Oh, that was amazing.
And I hopped up and I'm sitting with her, and I'm sort of looking at through my camera. My daughter's shooting the photo. My Great Dane Stella's at her feet, and you're right there. I'm sitting there thinking to myself right now, I was like, this is really happening. Like, this is the actress in the movie, Monique, and she's leaning on my shoulder. I was like, this is like, that's my moment with you.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, also like when he's shooting, he's totally professional. He's totally in the zone. But now someone else is a photographer, and you got a chance to breathe. It's like, I'm doing this. This is really fun. But I have to say, I also I fangirl too. When I go to these conventions, also I see people and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so-and-so who I grew up watching, or I get all excited as well. And by the way, if you hear about horror conventions, those of you who are a little bit like, what's a horror convention? Like scary. Let me tell you something. Some of the nicest people are at horror conventions. Horror conventions are about grown-up make-believe. Yeah. Like, so I will share this with you. If you've ever, you're afraid to go. You will have a blast. There's all kinds of things to buy. And then you'll meet, if there's celebrities there that you like, you'll just have a blast. You'll come away going,
you didn't like that. We're like, oh my God, I remember you in that movie. Yeah. I'm a big scary movie guy. Big.
Yeah, he is. He loves scary. Like
Friday 13th, 1 through final chapter. It got kind of weird after that, but I still love all those Jason movies. Yeah. The original Nightmare on Elm Streets.
And you're going to see Amanda there, right? Amanda Wiss, who I did Better Off Dead. She was the girl with the ceiling, the room turning, and that's iconic. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Even if somebody did that today, it wouldn't be the first time someone did it. So it wasn't an iconic film experience and became the iconic actress. So isn't
it crazy what it all leads to?
It does.
So let me ask you this. How did your experience? We did an acting workshop yesterday.
Yes. By the way, I am an acting coach. I actually teacher, a coach. I'm credentialed. I work with adults, kids. So Kevin, when he asked me to come down here and said we were going to do he said, would you like to do a workshop? And
she was like, oh my gosh, I would love to. I was like, really? Okay, let's do this. And you can find people on social media. It's going to sound totally weird. She found me on a picture of Catherine Mary Stewart and commented on it. And I saw Diane Franklin on there. I was like, that name sounds familiar. And I go to her Instagram. I went, no freaking way. I was like, Brittany, my wife, look who liked this photo, who commented on it. So I sent her an email, not on Instagram, but then, I sent her an Instagram message. Then I sent you an email saying, hey, I don't know if you check your messages. And then she emailed me right back within an hour. I was like, hey, now.
So it's very natural, like these kind of things happen.
About 3 months ago, what'd you say?
Just like, just out of the face, like, let's make it happen. Okay, fine. And I can make it happen now. So I'm just one of those people that just sort of is organic. If I can make it work, I do it. And I kind of feel it out. So. And
I want to brag about her husband for a minute. We're about this close to having her husband here too. He is a Hollywood writer, a lot of animation. He created Fairly Odd Parents.
He didn't create it. He's the writer, but Butch Hartman created it, but he's the actual writer. So if you ever see a cartoon with Fairly Odd Parents, up until now, I guess they keep doing new ones. It says Ray DeLaurentis, and that's my husband. And
but he goes all the way back to St. Elsewhere back in the 80s, the hospital show. That was like the greatest anime back in the early 80s. And now he's writing the Ice Age movie, the second Ice Age for
Disney Plus.
Yeah. And we're going to do a writer's workshop. And then last minute, he couldn't make it because he's
working. He's got like 3 jobs, like 3 different, like he in fact said to me, I don't even know if I'm going to have enough time to do them with all the extra time I have now that you're gone. Like, it's just like, how do you juggle?
And her amazing daughter and her business partner, Sid, are talking about coming here. And I hope we can make that happen because she is an influencer and a half. And when I say influencer, not just, she's an actress also, but she's going to teach people about influencing, how it works, how to grow your social media.
And she's a comedian. So she helps actresses. Like, she's very beautiful and she's kind of working against type. And just like she's doing things that have not, that's the thing with Olivia too. She's doing things that have not been done before and it's almost interesting. Like when you remember and everybody saw, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler at first, like you're watching them and you're going, what is this? Like 2 women and like 2 women comedians. And now you see Olivia and Sid and there's not that many who can do what they do. Right. So it's just everybody, you have to step out of your comfort zone and do things. The ones who do the things that are maybe not considered popular right off the bat are the ones who stand out because it's something you're doing that's different. But I have to tell you, I have a son also. I love my kids. My son is he has music on Spotify. So if you check out Nick DeLaurentis, and he's gorgeous. He's red hair, curly.
Spell that because I can't even spell it.
Nick, N-I-C-K, DeLaurentis, DeLaurentis.
I would not want that last name trying to fill out job.
Oh, we had a song with the kids when they were young to learn how to spell or say their life. How do you say your name? D-E-L. We learned that from relatives. So it was very
That's
fun.
Hysterical. So when you're doing the acting workshop that we did yesterday, what were your thoughts on the workshop itself? Because I know what we did, we talked a lot about body language. The first thing she talked about, there's a whole reason why we did body language. Yeah. And then she did voice work about how to create your voice, where you carry your voice, how to project your voice. Because when you do all the foundation work, then you start building your character. Yeah. So then we had choices. We had people read scripts and read scripts, improvisation. I gave them notes. I think one of the great things about this, and I about doing workshops. Okay, first of all,
for people to come, if you actually make it to a workshop, you've already done half the battle, because you're putting yourself in a situation that you're not comfortable with, that you don't know anything, but you're taking a chance.
Right.
And that's what the entertainment business is. You're always walking into a room where you don't know anyone. So that's even in itself practice.
Right.
So the people who came here, I know that they're 50, like already out of 100%, we're 50% in. They get it. They understand what it takes, the bravery it takes. Then, and so that's why I encourage, if you've never done it, go. If you don't like it, you can always leave, but take a chance. You have one life. You need to try.
And if you have
You'll never
social
regret
anxiety,
trying.
I've had issues.
Oh, that's the ones who need to do it the most.
Right, exactly.
You need to walk through the door.
I've had people in the studio before that have done the workshops that have the anxiety, and they end up being some of the better people that put it out there.
Absolutely. The ones with the social anxiety wind up being the most, like, I have seen hilarious. Like, they're the most like, okay, now I'm ready to go. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just saw this person start at 0 and now they're at 120. Yeah. So again, only positive things come out of taking chances that way. Yeah. Okay. Then the second thing was, in myself as a teacher, I've taught like 20 years. Okay. So I've done all different ages. But the biggest challenge is when I come in and I walk into a room and everyone's got different levels of experience and different ages. The only thing I was hoping was that everyone was over 18, because then I can go into a more, I don't have to go to a super PC. I can go to a little more adult, conversation. And
well, we have only had one under 18, right?
Yeah, or right. No, it was
just one. Matthew, I think.
Yeah. No, Matthew was 18.
Oh, he was
so
18.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So to me, that made it like, okay, good. I can get a little deeper. And then the other part of it is, if you have a class, if everyone in this class would have come and said, I want to be an actor, I would teach them differently, because every group has a different thing. But because this is a workshop, I'm going to give them a little bit of everything so that they can start understanding what the world is like, and if they even like it.
And not everyone there was to be an actor. We had a trial attorney there, and he was wanting to learn a lot about putting, expression in a courtroom, how to put out there to the jury, to the judge. And he did a lot with his body language. Yeah, you showed him a lot, and he started straightening up here and uncrossing the legs, put his hands differently, because it gives off a vibe. And when people see you cutting yourself off like a jury or a judge, they might say, okay, this guy, whatever. So he's learning a whole bunch of little aspects.
Completely. I'm sure that I helped his trial. I have a feeling. Oops.
Public speakers.
Judge, right?
We talk about public speakers. People want to do TV commercials.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot more to just an acting workshop than just actors.
And you're not, okay. And another thing for those of you who don't know about acting, I'm not coming to teach you to be something other than who you are. I'm here to teach you to enhance who you are, but also to give you choices. It was funny, like one of the girls came and said, well, I don't like my voice. I mean, I was talking like that and I want to change it, and I was like, okay, well, don't ever lose that dialect, because it's,
you can use it.
You can use it. And, that's perhaps one of the things makes you so endearing, and like, people will go to you for that, but you should be able to speak. You should be able to have the control of your voice to understand how to come in and out of it. And I taught her how to do just a couple of things. And she changed her voice
really quickly.
A minute. Yeah. Just the minute I was like, okay, do these two things and you'll be able to speak it. And she was like amazed, because now she knows how to bring it. And that's like almost like magic. Yeah. That's why acting is like a magical experience.
I think you give them skills they didn't know they had.
And that anybody can have control over and choose when they want to.
Because I can tell you this much. I used to do public speaking back in the day, and I've had times where
I'm so glad you did, because you have this study. You hear the resonance, his cavity. Right. I could go as low as I can, but I'll never reach that beautiful voice. All right.
I remember I was at a convention. It was surgical technicians and doctors, and I was in a big convention room. It was over 400 people there. And as I'm getting mic'd and everything like this, and I focused on the one person who I knew in the room. This is how nervous I was. I was probably sweating. I don't sweat a lot, but I was sweating a little bit. Mm-hmm. So as I'm talking, the mic kept reverbing, like, meh. So I had to step away from where I was at. So then when I was talking, I could talk, and then I'd hear myself on the speaker about a half second later, like, hey, wait, and I was like, oh my God.
You have to pull it together.
So here's what I did. I took off the mic and I said, can you all hear me really well? And I just talked really loudly, and I was walking to one table to the other. But when as bad as I thought I did at first, when I started walking around and I broke out of my barrier, I felt so much better. Like I felt like I was
more connected.
Yes.
More comfortable, more connected. You're really talking to people.
Yeah.
You're really waiting for a response from them.
And when we had the actors workshop yesterday, and like back in the day, I would not have done this at all. She says, Kevin, you want to be the first one? I'm like, yep, let's go.
You see?
Yeah.
And this is a lovely example. And he knew we all understand what it's like to feel nervous. Don't kid yourself. I still feel nervous. We all do. Anytime you do something for the first time, but we have training to get us know how to calm ourselves down. Everybody has an individual way. Yeah. And by the way, to me, training is like languages. You might go to one teacher and love what they do, and another one like, doesn't feel right. Go where it feels good. If it doesn't feel good, if it feels bad, then go to someone else. But with what I found fascinating was he has enough experience. He was able to be my role model, be my, like I knew when we did this, he could walk through the door and say, okay, I'm going to do it. And I can make mistakes, and I'm going to be the ones as the role model for the other students to show them how to relax.
Yeah.
And I knew that. And I was like, and you did your scene with
Alexis,
yep. Who had no experience, but she felt your relaxation and therefore then relaxed too. So
it hit off really well too. I remember our first line, she's like, okay, so how'd it go? And then I started doing my lines, and we didn't think twice, Yeah. So it was just like, we're just kicking back, talking, and you all just happened to be there. And what's so funny, it was a bit of a comical, almost like a Seinfeld type of scene that we're reading. And Diane has got the most very noticeable laugh.
I have a big laugh.
Big laugh. And you'll hear in the video, and it's I love your laugh. It's
great. I just laugh. When I laugh, I want people to know that they're hitting the mark, like they're hitting the thing. And also sometimes, some people are very self-conscious of their laugh. And if you laugh, then they go, oh, it's okay. I can find this funny. So, so I've grown accustomed to letting it out.
And I'd say like the attorney's son, Bob was his name.
Yeah.
Matthew was very quiet at first, and then he really opened up a lot. Leanna was another one who was very quiet
at the beginning,
very in the beginning, and then she opened up a whole lot. And I love Rachel, the 6'4" redhead Rachel. I call her tall drink. I call her TDOC, tall drink of coffee.
She was lovely. She had great energy. Oh, I mean, all of them. Like seriously, Sony was a little. Yes. Sony was lovely because she was a woman that. She
very elegant.
Yes, she's elegant, but she's a little shy. She knows definitely good behavior. Like she definitely knows. And I see maybe she wasn't even interested necessarily in becoming an actress, but she was a good sport. And because of that, she opened up and she did great. I completely believed her as her character. And I challenged her, and she did. I was really impressed with her performance. Very natural, very relaxed. And I could see that she was, felt good about what she did. She wasn't like, oh, I can't do that. Like she was like, all right. I saw her step through the door. And Liz, this girl, Liz, with the dialect and stuff. Oh my gosh, adorable. So it's like she glows. She shines, and to be able to relax. And everyone just took the chance to allow themselves to focus and just, acting is based on trust. Yeah. And if she trusts me and trusts Kevin, then she opens up. And that's what everyone did. They just opened up because Kevin created a very warm and trusting environment. So bam on that.
One of the things I'm trying to do, like with MÓDA, there's my plug, is MÓDA was just something I created during COVID. I was a photographer. I decided to try to push models to almost manage some models. And then I created a magazine. The magazine itself, it's still coming together as far as the niche of it. And it's going to be like the model acting world is where it's going to go, the niche of it. And I love what I'm trying to put together is in the middle of Louisville, Kentucky. I'm in Crestwood, actually. You don't have that here. You don't have working actors that come in and teach what we're doing. So I'm trying to bring something different to the table. And to have you here just means the world to me. I thank you so much for everything. Thank you. Look at this. I get a hug. Thank you for everything.
You are most welcome. And thank you for having me on your show. And again, I hope that Kevin has you trust he's here with professional people, and
any questions
take
you
advantage
have for
of
me,
it.
for Diane,
Yeah.
comment below. I'll make sure she gets your questions.
Yeah.
And
she'll
be back.
Yeah.
I promise you that. It'll probably be next year, but she will be back.
I will be back.
I will be back.
Merci buckets. Merci buckets. Au revoir. Oh, cheers for those who like Bill and Ted's.
And let's
have a most excellent time.
And let's hear the other accent, your New York accent.
Oh, all right. Fine. Have a good time here. Come back. All right. Go see Kevin. He's a good guy. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.